Well, you could say it is history in the making. Yuma's only licensed medical marijuana dispensary is now open for business recreationally. So joining us now to talk about what the passing of Prop 207 means for Yuma County and to debunk some of the stigmas surrounding legal marijuana, we have Ms. Susan Huang, who is founder of Jamestown Yuma here locally. So thank you again for joining us here.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
So now that recreational marijuana is legal all across the state in Arizona, dispensaries across the state are seeing lines of people outside their doors just trying to get a hold of the green. So explain what this milestone means for you and your business.
Yes, there has been a great demand, and no one expected how fast Arizona Department of Health Services was going to activate the recreational sales of cannabis. So we do anticipate, the more demand here in Yuma community as well. And as Jamestown Yuma dispensary is the only licensed dispensary here in town Yuma, as of today, we expect to see many customers. But to avoid the long lines, we're actually working on pickup orders and online orders. But the products must be picked up in person at Jamestown Yuma dispensary located on 32nd Street and 4E.
Yeah, and I know there's going to be a name change pretty soon, right, to Best Dispensary Yuma?
Yes, we expect it to happen soon to transition from Jamestown Yuma Dispensary to Best Dispensary Yuma, which we already do have Best Dispensary in Mesa, Arizona. But of course, we would have to build out the new real estate facilities first, including not just dispensary, but on-site cultivation site, extraction facility, and infusion kitchen. So not just a retail dispensary, but Yuma will definitely see our Best Dispensary build out truly vertically integrated system here in Yuma.
Yeah, and I know this is still a new idea for a lot of more traditional viewers out there. So I know you mentioned the kitchen, the infusion kitchen. I think I've seen Snoop Dogg do something like that on a video. Can you explain just what that concept means and what is involved in that?
Yeah, so dispensary is a retail store where we are authorized to sell medical cannabis and also recreational cannabis. Many people ask what are the difference. Medical cannabis must be purchased by medical marijuana patients who have the cards issued by Arizona Department of Health Services. For recreational cannabis, you don't need to have a patient card, but you just have to be 21 or older, and you have to have a valid ID to, verify your age. So infusion kitchen is where the edibles are made. So any cannabis products that are consumable and ingestible, including but not limited to brownies, chocolate, candies, gummies, oils, sublingual, tablets, strips, all are made from infusion kitchens. So by having infusion kitchen here in Yuma, we'll be able to not only manufacture but sell through our store locally here in Yuma.
All right, sounds good. And I know just because it is legal does not mean people can use marijuana everywhere. There are still some restrictions in place. Let's take a look at some bullet points right now just so you can see more clearly what it is about. So we have that, for example, smoking recreational marijuana or medical pot out in public spaces remains prohibited. Driving under the influence, of course, is also illegal, and employers in Arizona still retain the right to maintain a drug-free workplace. But I know that those stigmas still exist out there. So for our more traditional viewers who might see cannabis as just another way to get high, they might see the selling of recreational marijuana as a slippery slope to even more trouble. So how do you respond to that?
Yeah, there are many stigmas involving cannabis, and that's why I try to use a scientific term cannabis rather than marijuana. It is too long for me to go into it right now, but marijuana is a derogatory term, and if you look at it historically, cannabis used to be legal, and actually in the history of the US in early colonies, if you're a farmer and if you did not grow cannabis and hemp, you were actually penalized because hemp and cannabis was used as a form of currency to pay the taxes to the government. So anyhow, one of the huge stigma about cannabis is that it's a gateway drug, which is actually false. By being the only licensed dispensary here in Yuma since 2013, we have seen great number of patients and users actually who got off of the opioids and addiction to other hardcore drugs to pharmaceuticals. And the study shows that all those states that have legalized medical cannabis and recreational cannabis have seen 25% decrease in the opioid overdose. So these are data that's showing. So we really are hoping to fight the stigma with the factual data and numbers. But I believe that cannabis is actually an exit drug, because I've seen many patients who got off of the opioids and prescription pills by supplementing their opioid pain pills with the cannabis.
Yeah, and I can hear some of your medical experience speaking, right? Because you do have experience in biochemistry, right?
Yes, I graduated from Arizona State University with the biochemistry degree. And essentially, that's why I got into the industry, because when I looked at the science and medical benefits of the cannabis, that's when I was convinced to get into the industry.
All right, and just so to make it clearer for our viewers out there who might be wanting to purchase some of your products in stores, so explain the process, how you place the orders, and if you have a medical marijuana card, how does that benefit them?
Yes, so Jamestown Yuma Dispensary is looking forward to serving both medical marijuana patients, but also all adults that are age 21 and older. You must bring your valid ID, and also due to COVID, we're not accepting walk-ins at this time. So please feel free to reach out to our dispensary. JamestownYuma.com is our website. So make sure you go to JamestownYuma.com, and our location and phone numbers are available. But the pre-registration will have to be required, and after that, when your orders are ready, that's when you can come in person. But make sure you bring your ID, and if you do have a patient card, you can bring your ID along with your patient card.
Yeah, and I know this whole process happened so suddenly with the passing of Prop 207. So because of that, wholesale prices has skyrocketed too, because the demand was there as well, right?
Yes, that is true. There was not enough time for the dispensaries to transition. And it was somewhat of an unexpected thing that happened, how fast Department of Health Services approved those who apply for the recreational sales licenses for medical dispensaries. Due to that reason, there are many larger corporations now have merged the dispensaries. And also, as you're familiar, there are publicly traded dispensaries that are available through the Canadian market. Jamestown Yuma Dispensary is one of the very, very few independently owned dispensary. And due to that reason, our buying power is not as strong as those dispensaries that have 10 plus or 20 plus locations. Of course, they have a controlling of the wholesale market due to their multiple locations and large facilities such as farms. So Jamestown Yuma is working to solve that issues by building out cultivation sites and infusion kitchens, hopefully here in Yuma. So not only we supply to our customers, but we look forward to increasing the job opportunities and economic development of here, Yuma, Arizona. But due to high demand currently and shortage in supply, of course, there is an increased price. And also with the recreational cannabis sales being activated, now the new testing bill is activated as well, which forces the wholesalers to test the products. Of course, the products have to be tested, because these are consumable products, but with the additional cost, and again, with the high demand but shortage in product, that's how we are seeing the increased wholesale price, which we effectively have to accordingly adjust to our retail prices as well.
All right, yeah, so good to see that this is being done in such a structured way, right? And just going off topic for a bit, but from a consumer standpoint, I know I was reading a report that about 80 to 90% of the people who run this kind of business are Caucasian males. So how does it feel as an Asian American woman running this company in such a non-traditional way?
Yeah, it's been a very challenging journey for me since around 2012. Yes, it is a male dominant industry, and actually you do not see diversity. So I definitely want to encourage, involvement from the woman entrepreneurship to minorities involvement, as there are stigmas that we talked about involving cannabis. Again, we definitely have to work on, making more rooms and diversity at the table. But I'm still proud to share that I'm one of the very few, probably the only Asian female that is sitting as a CEO and also the license holder of cannabis companies here in Arizona. So I look forward to continuing to paving the way, but it is definitely challenging. So we need to see more diversity and familiar faces so that others can get into the industry, as it will be the fastest growing industry here in Arizona.
Right, that is true. And so, Susan, thank you again and congratulations on this milestone. We'll see how this plays out in the near future. Thank you again. And for more information, you can tune into our website, kyma.com, where we'll have the full details as well as where you can find them here in Yuma. Stick around, more news after the break.